charge you for the fire hydrant in front of your house.
But we got a less than 20% voter turnout rate in the local elections.
Well, you understand voting don't work, right?
It does work.
How?
It does, but you just missed it.
I heard everything you said. I can't wait till you tell me how voting makes a difference in this country.
We have a less than 20% voter turnout rate in local.
Ain't nobody going for the sucker shit no more. We got to go.
You're missing it.
You got to uproot the people in power before a real difference happens. Voting is for suckers.
It's not. People that don't vote are ignorant as.
Well, I guess I'm ignorant because I would never participate in no
people
sucker
that
shit.
don't vote.
I'm gonna show up and vote like a sucker.
And not only is it ignorant.
We had Republican presidents. We had Democratic presidents. We in the same joint.
I'm talking about locally.
When I listen, it wasn't phony. Anton, my mind is set up when people do things like I call it backdooria on my show. Mm-hmm. When people throw that at you, it's a set-off.
And that's why I said...
You say I don't walk under the code?
No, you're hypocritical. I told you that to your face.
The whole world a hypocrite, but what are you talking about?
No, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite when it comes, I believe you. When it comes to specifically you moving by a code.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Because you think that you can say what you want to say when you want to say it, and that people are supposed to respect the way that you move, but I don't think that you move the way that you're supposed to anyway.
I want this thing to be studied, because here's the truth. Brother Anton is talking about everybody else but himself and white men. Study this episode.
Shout out
to the shit on Caucasian males.
Shout out to the
he ain't shit on
I'm
himself.
not gonna shit on nobody.
You shitted on black people.
Shitted on black people for sure.
You shitted on motherfuckers.
I feel like I shitted on you. To your face. To your face.
Shitting on me because I feel like you're talking shit again.
I'm not talking shit. I'm telling you.
Careful.
I'm telling you.
You shitted on me to my face, but that shit will lead to some danger.
Will we please stop the
trust me.
The tough talk. I got security, you got security.
Homie, I ain't got security. They're my people.
Cool. Them your
You gotta hire a motherfucker to be with you.
Absolutely. I'm always gonna hire somebody.
You better.
100%.
How you be talking?
Corey, stop talking tough. Stop talking.
Homie, you
just said that.
I'm not talking tough. I'm talking to you straight up.
Why are you so?
You said you disrespected me in my face. No dick sucking,
you
homie.
say a lot of shit that I don't fuck with either. You
okay, but that gay shit. Oh, you
I don't give a fuck about what you talking about.
Hey, homie, I tell you what.
I'm right here.
Don't put no dick sucking shit. Don't put no dick sucking shit on me, nigga.
I'm from Detroit.
Say I suck a dick again.
I'm right here, right now.
All right, that's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna respect you.
Dance around it. Dance around it.
No. I could have been the bigger person, but I decided not to on that platform because I seen weakness in him, and I also wanted to expose him because he thinks he's a bully and he picks and chooses his targets, which I told him that also. So with him getting up and moving the chairs and all that stuff, nobody was fearful of it, and it wasn't about being tough or anything like that, but it was like, okay, well, let's just see how far it goes. Let's see how far the rabbit hole goes. And it really amounted to just one of those type of dogs that like to bark on the porch, but then when they actually step out there, when you remove the fence from it, and again, he was shaking and all of that stuff, when you remove the fence from it, it amounted to practically nothing, even so much so to the point to where I said, listen, we don't even have to keep talking about it. We can go out back if you tough, and we can figure it out back there. Because one thing that I'm not gonna do, because I know that YouTube don't like fighting. They will demonetize you, they will penalize you, it can go really, really bad. So I'm not going to mess up this platform, and I'm not gonna mess up my platform either. And so I'm like, well, listen, we could just go out back. We don't even have to cut the stream or anything like that. We can figure it out if you think you're tough. To which I already knew he wasn't gonna do it, and he did exactly what I thought he was gonna do. He sat back down, he shook my hand, and then we continued the conversation. And at that point, I seen a weakness in him, and so I just proceeded to exploit him. I told him that he was scary, that he picks and chooses his targets, that he's hypocritical, that he was scared of Dave Chappelle. That's why he tiptoed around giving his opinion on a special. I told him that the people around him are yes men, and they just tell him what he want to hear. And he doesn't have any real friends, and that's why he continues to alienate people. And so I was very candid and matter of fact, and I didn't pull any punches, and I told him exactly what he was. And once I seen that it was escalating more, and then he started calling me out of my name again, I think that the intelligent thing to do at that point, because I had already made my point, was just to go ahead and walk away.
You can't play with me like that. So I'm realizing the camera's on me. It's a lot on the line. It's a lot on the line. But he's trying to act like he a man. I bet my life and safety, he wasn't a man when I asked D to move and basically sat in his lap. Because if you walk up on a man like that, you could get your eye poked out, you can get sucker punched, you can get all kinds of things done. Look, I would never walk up on a man like I walked up on dude. I knew he was bumping his gums. I knew nothing was going to happen how I walked up on him. But except for like when you arguing with a female. Because that's all he did.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great out there. Did you guys see the interview between Anton Daniels and Corey Holcomb from the 5150 show? I just watched that, and I would always hear things that people would say about Anton Daniels, but this has been confirmed. This interview confirmed what people were saying about him. I just couldn't believe that this guy was sitting up here defending white tea America's stance on how they treat black American people. And Anton Daniels just kept defending the white tea people's perspective. You know, he's saying that they have, like they're justified in everything that they say and do to black people. You know, that's how he was coming off. Anyway, I'll say that. But when I see people like Anton Daniels, I always wonder what happened to them in their lives to make them have, that type of hatred for their own group of people. It's like, what happened to him? Why do people turn into COONs? What makes them turn into those type of critters? I don't understand what's really going on with that. Having money is one thing, right? Growing up with money or coming into money later on in life, whether it's from you getting an education and, you applied it to your life and now you're financially, sound, that's fine and all. But he must understand that it only takes one situation to turn his life upside down. With him being a black man and all, yes, he can go somewhere and his life can be changed forever. You better be happy that his life stays intact, if he gets caught in the wrong situation at the wrong time. I believe he thinks because he speaks negatively about black people, black American people, that's going to protect him when he get in a situation with a white tea supremacist. If he's like outnumbered or he get caught up somewhere, he think that's going to protect him. Him fighting using his fists won't help. Him saying he has a pew is not going to help. Because he's one of them type of people that keep himself unprotected because he thinks he's safer around white tea people than he is around black people. Because he really thinks he's one of them. He's one of those people you call an Oreo. Yeah, he's one of those types. And he just thinks he's better than the average black person. That's just what I really believe. But I think it was sad just seeing that. But in all, in the entire interview, I just believe Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels, they're two peas in a pod. They're two of the kind of the same people in the sense that Anton Daniels, he's against all black people in how he speaks, in terms of, black versus the white tea man or woman. He's always justifying their hatred for black people. And, that's a dangerous thing to do. For you to be a black person and sit up and defend white tea's, antics on, why black America should be targets, why we should be discriminated against, and using all these stereotypes. Anton Daniel is one of those black people who have bought into black stereotypes about his own people. And when they talk about black people, don't he understand that he's still included in that? And he does kind of give me what everybody's saying now, the tether vibe. he does have kind of like this tether. He speaks tether language. I'll say that, because he's always othering himself, like he's not black. I mean, we can see he's black, okay? I don't understand why he's trying to move away from that. But I just wonder, I'm like, is he really black American, or is he Caribbean, or is he, where is this guy really from? Where is his family from? I know he said he's from Detroit, but the way he talks is just unbelievable to me. I mean, we have people in our communities, that's dangerous to the black community. When people speak like that and act like that, I think that's very dangerous. And I understand him saying he don't like, how we do things in terms of some of us, how some of us harm our own, our own people in our own communities, and, we should want better and all this stuff. But when you're talking publicly and you're putting your own community down, all you're doing is emboldening white supremacists. And I'm talking about the violent ones, because that's the worst extent of what white supremacy gives you. And I'm just, I just said it there. But that's the worst of what it gives you. They are into going around taking black people's lives. Yes, that's the extent of white supremacy. And for any black person on earth to sit up here and say that it doesn't exist, that, there's no racism, that, it's our, idea, our ideology, and that we hate white people more than they hate us. That's what Anton Daniels had nerve to say, that black people hate white people. We don't trust them. Some may be cool, but collectively we know it's a system. It's a whole system, Anton. It's not just that we hate them. It's just a matter of it's what they do to black people, and what they do. They look at how they have you thinking about your own people. If you didn't feel like they were superior, because that's what it is. Anton believes that white people are better than black people. He feels inferior to them, so he wants to, be their mouthpiece in blackface. That's what he wants to be. And I think it's really embarrassing. And I think it's very dangerous to be like that. Any black person who speaks like that, you're helping a white supremacist attack a black person when you speak like that. Just think about it. Anytime you talk about your own people and you put them down, you're emboldening them to go out and attack, the next black person. Because what you're telling them is that I'm black, yeah, but I'm on board with what you do to black people. I don't care about black people. Any harm that you cause to a black person, you got to find a way. It's their fault that it happened to them. No, it's not their fault that it happened to them. And it doesn't matter what walk of life a black person comes from. If they lose their lives due to a hate crime, that's just what it is. You can't make it out of any other, you can't make it out to be anything else other than that, because you have internal hatred and you don't like being black. That's what it just comes off to be to me with Anton. Like, he just doesn't like being black. And Corey Holcomb, he has a problem too, because he's always down in black women. That's one thing I don't really like about him, is that he downs black women all the time. He's always disparaging black women publicly. And whether or not if he's saying that he's talking about the ones who are the black women who are 304s, who just, represent black women in a bad light, and I don't like that either, but for you to publicly shame them, and then you're not putting on these other women from these other communities, you black men love uplifting Cardi B. They really do like her. But I think that's a part, she's the reason why a lot of these girls are fast in these schools and stuff. And even the Megan Stallion, the little girls think that's cute. And I think that's the reason why a lot of them are kind of like out there like that. But of course, people like Cardi, she would never want her daughter to be like that. She's going to protect her baby. She would never want her daughters, neither one of them, to be like that. And I just think it's dangerous when you send a message to girls for them to kind of be, out there like that. It's for every other child, every other girl or female, just not my daughters, because I know she would want her daughters being like that. And that's amazing when these women project that out there, but they would never want that for their daughters. And if you wouldn't want it for your daughters, well, you shouldn't want it for other people's daughters. And I think they just need to clean that up a little bit, clean it up. But I'm just making this statement because, like I said, people like black men, like Corey Holcomb, and even Anton Daniel, They don't say nothing about these other groups of people, other women from other groups. They only bash and talk bad about black women. And that's a problem that I have about with a lot of black men. They bash and talk about black women, but they quick to go outside the community and get with other women like they're any better. And a lot of these women are they just as fast and, just kind of, out there they can be 304s too. So, I just don't like the fact that the black woman is the most disrespected, the most attacked, the most put down, the most, unprotected out here. We just don't get any protection, not even from our black men. And for you to put that on a public stage and talk about black women, so I believe some black men that talk like that is the reason why everybody in society comes for black women, why people try us repeatedly everywhere we go. I've experienced it. So I know we are very disrespected by a lot of people. We're not protected by people. We're not respected by people because the thing is, we have to be responsible as content creators. When we come out and we say certain things, we have to understand there's messages behind that. People receive things differently. You can say something and a person will interpret it as, okay, well, these people, nobody care about them, so I can just go out and, attack them because they don't have any protections. Their own people don't like them. You have to be careful of what kind of messages that you put out there. Just like your child. When you agree with people, when they putting your child down or saying something about your child, just because you are in, just to try to be agreeable with people, you have to be careful with that. Because then people feel like, they don't have any boundaries with your kids. It's just, I understand they're not kids, these are grown men. But what I'm saying is when you put certain messages out there and you act a certain way in a sense where I don't care anything about these people. Because it's clear Anton has a hatred for his own people. He does not like black people like that. Especially if you're poor and black. Oh my goodness. And and another thing about Anton Daniels that I don't like is, and all black people who do this, it's okay to be conservative, right? You can be conservative all you want to. I don't have a problem with you being conservative. But the problem that I have with a lot of these conservative black people is when they go way to the right and then they say they want to be MAGA. This fool is wearing a Make America Great Again hat. And I just knew when I saw Anton wear that hat, I just knew he's a certified COON when I saw him wearing that MAGA hat. How can you be MAGA? Do you know what MAGA does not include you? Do you understand what that slogan means? To make America great again. That means they want you back in chains. That means they want to see you back under Jim Crow. Do you not understand that that's what make America great again means? And you walking around like a dunce wearing that MAGA hat? As a black person, any black person that's walking around with that hat on, you're just saying that, oh, I'm willing to be that SLAVE again. I'm willing to be, under Jim Crow. I'm willing to go there. Yeah, I'm gonna be the same. I'm gonna song and dance. I'm gonna do a jig for you. I'll wear the hat and I'll represent that. And that is so dangerous, again, for you to even use yourself as that type of photo op for the MAGA party. All they're doing is using black people, too. They're using us as well. So, it's not a flex that Anton Daniels is walking around with a MAGA hat on. Like I said, he can be conservative. That's one thing. He can have money. That's another thing. But to come out here and just put down your community of people, you're putting down your mother. You have a black mother, right? He has a black father. He has black siblings. He has black nieces and nephews, possibly. He said he had a nephew. I heard that. Talking about he fights with them. And what is that about? Talking about he tussles with them. Why are you tussling with your family as a grown man? What is going on with that? This man has such a lack of respect for black people that he's willing to fight with his family. You can have disagreements, but you keep your hands to yourself. Now, if you're fighting with your family members, physically, what do you call that? You're basically the same person that you talk about. You talk about ghetto black people and all this and that, but then you are walking around here acting the same way. You see how people are hypocrites? Now he's performing the same way he's talking about the people in the black community and how they act. He's acting the same way. He displayed that on the Holcomb show. Corey Holcomb's show. He displayed the same thing. Instead of just, saying what he needed to say, he's like throwing out threats and stuff too. And I understand because he's on the stage, he's in front of him. He just wanted to show that, Corey Holcomb wasn't going to do anything to him. Yes, Corey Holcomb realized if he did that there would be most likely legalities after that. There would be a lawsuit. I guess they would go after each other legally, but, why would you do that? And you guys are two black men, the same ones that are always talking about your people and putting them down. You guys sitting up there acting just like the people in our community that you say you don't want to no parts of, you don't even want to be around. And I just thought the interview was horrible. I thought it was a bad look for both of them as black men on a public stage. It's not cute at all. And everybody's talking like, a lot of these black men too are talking like it's a WWF, like it was something to, really take sides on. I think both of them look ridiculous. And that's the kind of stuff that we need to stop doing as black people. Stop hurting each other. We do need to come together as a community. Those are the problems that we have within our community. We get all buck and, try to come off and be all hard and stuff towards each other. But then you guys don't have no smoke for anybody in these other communities at all. You're not going to do nothing. Okay? You'll put your tail between your legs, put your head down and walk away. In most situations, I know you do. So don't sit up here and say you don't, because you do. And we need to stop doing that. We need to stop redirecting our anger and all that stuff towards one another, because that's what we're doing. We quick to get mad and we don't have any boundaries of what we won't do to each other. They talking about switches, pulling switches out, and we all know what switches mean. Switches are pum-pums. They were threatening each other with pum-pums, and you just don't do that. That's those type of threats on the public stage is not too smart either. Why would you do that? It's not even that serious. You have your perspective on politics, Corey Holcomb, and Anton Daniels has his perspective. But it should never have to result to you guys threatening each other like that, with no pum-pums. Because you use that and then your life is gone, and then what are you going to do? That's it. Over something like that. We have to be able to have civilized conversations, regardless if we dislike, what side a person's on. And I do see Anton Daniels. He was mostly he was causing Corey Holcomb to crash out. He was, making inflammatory remarks, being very, just stupid, a jerk in that interview. That's what I believe. That's my personal opinion. I just believe that he could have used better words. Even when Corey Holcomb kind of retreated and he was like, well, I'm just here. I respect your, what you have, and, vice versa, or whatever. But it just seemed like Anton Daniels came to fight. That's what it seemed like to me. And he wanted to show Corey Holcomb up as being not as bad as he tried to perceive, how he tries, that persona he tries to put on in front of everybody, that he's not really that type of person. That's what it came across to me like he was trying to do. But it doesn't even matter. I just believe that, both of them that could have been a much better interview than that. I think it was very embarrassing to our community. And I just think it was a bad look. I don't care. You can be a conservative, and Anton Daniels can be a conservative, and Corey Holcomb, he can be a Democrat or whatever he is. But I do agree with Corey Holcomb in the fact that he said that, Anton Daniels is always putting down black people like he's not black. And he does do that. In my opinion, I believe he does. And I think it's dangerous for any black person to do that, because all you're doing is helping with white supremacy when you do that. And whether or not you think that's what you're doing, that is exactly what you're doing when you do that. So you don't know. You might have helped somebody, else's life be taken away when you do that. You're helping them. You're emboldening these people when you put messages like that out there. Because you have to understand, no matter how much you try to do song and dances, you try to COON for those people, when they, hate you, that's just what they just hate you. They're not going to like you anymore because you're, shucking and jiving for them. It doesn't work that way. So everybody, just tell me what you think. Did you guys see the actual interview between Anton Daniels and Corey Holcomb? And what do you think? Do you think both of them should stop putting down the black community? Do you think Corey should stop putting down black women? And do you think Anton Daniels needs to stop putting down his black community in its entirety? And do you think it was necessary for them to, threaten each other with pum-pums? That's just insane. And what do you think the black community needs to do when, us as content creators, when we put out messaging, what do you think we need to do? Do you think we need to stop putting out messaging like that, regards to how we feel, even if Anton Daniels want to be a COON? Because do you think it's dangerous to the black community when our people do things like that? Just like Candace Owens. We know she's not black American, she's Caribbean, but nevertheless, she's helping with that messaging as well. And she's helping to embolden the white T supremacists as well. So you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. Please give me a thumbs up, share my video, and please do not forget to subscribe before you leave. And everyone, please be safe out there.